So you want to learn how to retain and remember people's names? Rockstar in the studio is going to help us understand that. Ken Rutkowski, it's Business Rockstars. In the studio, Jim Kwik. He's an expert in memory improvement and accelerated learning. Oh, I like that. He is the founder of Superhero U.
YOU, yes.
YOU and Kwik Learning. Is your real
WIK.
Is your name really Kwik?
That's the question.
You didn't make that up?
I didn't.
It's so perfect.
With the name like Kwik, my life and my destiny was pretty much planned out. I had to be a runner back in school. I had a lot of speeding tickets, and I get to teach speed reading and speed recall.
Do you really get a lot of speed tickets?
I do. You can't talk your way out of a ticket when you hand the officer your license. It says Kwik right on it.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
No. Well, I'm happy you're here. You tell us about a bunch of different acronyms. First was
Right.
MOM, M-O-M,
Yeah.
and motivation, observation, mechanics. I don't understand how you apply that. I mean, you're motivated to learn people's names based upon what?
So what you're doing is, I believe there's a success formula. I call it HQ. It goes from your head to your heart to your hands. If you ever just kind of visualize or just affirm things or think things in your head, you never actually act on it with your hands, which we're all guilty of, learning something and not acting on it. I think what's missing is that second H, which is your heart, the emotions, the energy emotions. And I think that I had a martial arts instructor early on teach me that you can't steer a parked car. You need that energy. Where's the fuel? And I think reasons, reap results. So I'd ask myself, why do I want to remember a person's name? I would actually say that in my mind, and maybe to show some respect, maybe to build a relationship, maybe to close a deal, maybe to practice these techniques that I heard on the radio. And because the reasons will lead to the results.
Okay, and it's almost like you're being kind to the person to remember them too.
It is, because it's awkward sometimes you talk to somebody and it's hard to show them that you're going to care for their business, their health, their future, whatever it is that you're selling them, if you will. You don't care enough just to remember something simple like their name.
Do you remember both first and last names, or is first names is really what you target at?
We like to focus on both. I mean, obviously in this culture we focus a lot on first names, primarily, but certainly second also as well.
Some seriously hard second last names.
And there are. And the B swab will actually help people with that also.
B swab, what's that mean?
So really quickly, the B stands for believe, because a lot of people have a lot of negative self-talk. So if you believe you can or believe you can't, either way you're right. Henry Ford said that. And so you want to eliminate the negative self-talk. I remember I was preparing for a marathon and I was reading this book on it, and it said your mind is like a supercomputer and your self-talk is a program that will run. So if you tell yourself you're not good with names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. Okay. So you want to be careful of that. The E in B swab stands for exercise. And I don't mean physical exercise, although it's nice quick tips. People who are more physically active will do better on mental acuity and focus and memory tests. But basically practice. Exercise and practice means, because practice makes progress, practice makes permanent, if you will. And so you want to practice these tools that you're about to learn, and you can practice that whenever you connect with another human being, or practice when you're watching television. The swab, the S in swab stands for say it. So I meet somebody, Ken, it's nice to meet you, I say the name. And that means I observed it also, because you don't want to have a 20-minute conversation with Ted and say goodbye, Ed. Oh. Right? Yeah, it's embarrassing. And so the U in swab stands for use the name. And I notice you use the name, but you don't abuse the name. You don't want to say, Ken, thanks for coming. Ken, you want to know something like Ken? What do you want to talk? Ken, that would be
overused. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
So 3 or 4 times in the context of the conversation. The A in swab stands for ask, because everyone's favorite subject, it's not travel, or it's not golf, it's not even entrepreneurship, it's themselves, right? So asking is a great strategy for unusual names. 90% of the people have the same name, it's something that's common, but 10% of the time you meet somebody, Absal, Ridiger, like you ask about name, you ask about the origin, you ask about the spelling, are you related to this person, who are you named after, what does it mean?
And that helps the individual who's asking to retain it better.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was doing this program at the country's largest life insurance company, 100 people in the room, and the training director's name was Nankita. And I was like, that's a beautiful name. Where's it from? How do you spell it? What does it mean? And she paused, and she says it means graceful, falling waters. And based on the audience, I was like, wow, that's interesting. How many people in the room knew that's what her name meant? Out of 100 people, not one person raised their hand.
That's a great name.
And that was a great bond, because think about the emotions and the connections you have, the name. It's what a sweet sound to a person's ear.
Say it, use it, ask.
And then the V stands for visualize, and this is the famous mnemonic trick where you tend to remember what you see, then try seeing what you would remember. A lot of people have a lot better with faces than they are with names, right? You go to someone and say, hey, I remember your face, but I forgot your name. It's never the opposite. You never go to someone and say, hey, I remember your name, but I forgot your face, right? And because there's a Chinese proverb that goes, what I hear, I forget, what I see, I remember, and what I do, I understand. What I hear, I forget, I heard the name, I forgot the name. What I see, I remember, I saw the face, I remember the face. What I do, going back to exercise and practice, I understand. So visualizing is turning the name into a picture. So a person's name is Mark, imagine yourself putting a check mark on their forehead. The person's name is Matt, imagine them using their tie as a doormat. If her name is Mary, you're imagining they're carrying
Ken.
names.
Ken.
Can. So
No.
like, yeah, it could be anything.
I'm a tin can.
You are.
All right, so we have an E now.
And then E finally is end, and you end saying their name. So he's saying goodbye. So if you walk into a room and meet 12 strangers or 20 strangers and you leave saying goodbye to every single one of them using their name, they're all gonna remember you. And that's a standout skill in business.
So that's be suave, believe, exercise, say it, use it, ask, visualize it, and
That's perfect.
that's great. I love that. Okay, do you mind if we put that on the website?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I put that on the Facebook page and on the Business Rockstars website. Jim Kwik is joining us. Kwik Learning, and he's also the founder of Superhero U. He is a memory expert. Is that what's on your card?
Yeah, high-performing brains, that's what
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
High performing
Anyone
brain.
wants better focus, read faster, be able to understand what they're getting. If they want to be able to, you know, they say the average person reads about 4 hours.
That's what you're doing.
Because you have to really want, I mean, think about it, the motivation, you have to want to remember the person's name, and always observation, you have to pay attention to the person's name to be really present.
But you're going through a list. I've seen you walk through a list of people.
Yes.
And as you're aligning the people, and you're acknowledging that they're there, and then as they leave, you remember who they were. You didn't have that amount of time to do your B-swap. You just didn't. You did it so fast.
Well, the good thing is, as you practice, just like with anything, just like the speed read, you get faster. So the speed comes through practice. But everyone right now who's listening to this, you know, we had somebody go from New York, they were horrible with names, they learned exactly what you just learned on the radio show, went to see a client, met 150 people there, left saying goodbye to every single person.
150.
That's astonishing, right? Every single person, maybe they didn't meet every single one of them, but they met the majority of those people, left, and then they had all these contracts, all these great deals, because when you remember someone's name, people feel that you care about them, but when you have a great memory also, you show that you're competent, you show you're an expert in your field.
So let's make sure we understand it, because I think the swap, I know believe and exercise are very important. I got it, okay?
Yeah.
But say it,
You say the name,
okay? Use it.
you use it in the conversation.
You ask if it's a unique name.
You ask about the first or the last name.
You
certainly.
visualize it, so do whatever you want to make sure there's a visual
So if a
connection
person's
to
name
it.
is Carol, you imagine them Christmas caroling. First name is David, I use the slingshot for David and Goliath. First name is Bob, I would imagine
Scott.
them bobbing for Scott, I use the tissue paper.
Okay,
So
Brian.
everyone, I use a brain. So, and we could actually, I mean, if your people are good, we could actually give them, I could give them access to a great video that would.
Hang on with that, okay?
Yeah.
So Jim Kwik's joining us. Hey, if you have any questions or comments or ideas you want to share with us, Jim is here for your calls, 855-ROCKSTAR, 855-762-5782. That's 855-ROCKSTAR. The phone lines are open right now. If you have your own little tips or tricks to remember things, share it with us. We like to know. Jim Kwik, CEO of Kwik Learning, and he's also the founder of Superhero U, 855-ROCKSTAR, 855-762-5782. Jim, you can give us some more tips and some ideas on how to retain. What's another big problem?
Information overload.
There we go. We're going to find out the tricks around information overload. Jim and Ken, Business Rockstars, KFWB, News Talk 980. To explode, how do you work around that? Ken Rutkowski, Business Rockstars, joining me in the studio. Jim Kwik, and it's not QIK or QICK, it's KW. Jim Kwik. That's your real name.
That is my real
It's
name.
not Asian. Kwik's not Asian, is it?
Yeah, that's my father's name, and my grandfather's name, everything.
Kwik. I love that. It's awesome. So, Jim, you actually have a little freebie for us.
Yeah, for your listeners, we created this site, and it's called, if people want to see me demonstrate these kind of abilities on stage and teach people, actually bring people on stage and remember names and practice these strategies, as well as learn some of the art of speed reading, not just getting the gist of what they read, but actually really understanding what they read, freememoryseminar.com.
Freememoryseminar.com.
Yeah, we put all these videos up, and you can enjoy them and just go deep, and it doesn't cost you anything.
So the whole Evelyn Wood speed reading, where you move your fingers really fast on the page. Are you doing that?
It could work. I mean, a lot of traditional speed reading, and I've taken all these different programs, and I recommend them all. I think it's useful for business people. I think leaders are readers. That lead, Bill Gates, very fast reader. If you ask him if you have any one superpower out there, he says the ability to read faster. And Warren Buffett will say, I probably wasted 10 years of my life reading slowly. And that's the thing. Even saving 1 hour a day on your reading is 365 hours a year. That's like 9 40-hour work weeks, 2 months of productivity getting back, just saving that extra hour. And so a lot of traditional speed reading, though, is more fancy finger motions where you go down the page or make these S forms.
Wait. So your fingers really matter then?
The fingers, yeah. I mean, all of them are based on using some kind of visual pacer. They'll use it going down the page, but then you miss big chunks on the left and the right side, or if you make these kind of S forms, you miss like these other chunks in your reading. The challenge So what you want to do is you don't want to skip anything. You know, like our people are, you know, we work with entrepreneurs to educators, we work with, you know, students to seniors, celebrities to CEOs, and these people, they don't want to just get the gist of what they read. They want to, you know, understand it completely.
Have you seen the Gates notes?
No.
So Bill Gates, every day, basically writes about the books he's reading. Every day. He shares with you. I just think this is amazing. This is about giving back, right?
Right.
So it's called thegatesnotes.com, and it's whatever Bill, and Bill tries to read 2 books a day.
That's astonishing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, be
So,
leaders. John F. Kennedy was a very fast reader also. We're talking about leaders of companies, leaders of nations. Carter was a very fast reader. Kennedy said to have read 6 newspapers every morning with 1 cup of coffee. For most people, it's the opposite. It takes 6 cups of coffee
to read one newspaper. But what happens is maybe you have this experience because we're talking about overload.
Yeah.
Your brain gets hungry. I mean, that's how at times I personally feel like I haven't learned enough today.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to, and and I'm not sure if other people feel like this. Other people say, you know, there's just too much coming in. I can't handle it. It's quiet, right? And there's a difference. So first, can your brain be hungry?
Can your brain be hungry? I would absolutely say yes. That your brain, I mean, if you want to, the great thing about the information age, when we're talking about knowledge, is not only power, knowledge is also profit, is the challenge is we're not really prepared. You know, we all grew up with this 20th century education that prepared us for a world that doesn't exist anymore, you know, to work on factories and work on farms. But nowadays, with exponential technology, the amount of information now, President of Google, Eric Schmidt, says the amount of information from the dawn of humanity to the year 2003, that amount of data, you know, is now created every 2 days online. That's insane. I mean, so there's this hockey stick influx of information, yet how we read, how we remember, how we learn, it's all flatlined. So that gap between the two creates information anxiety, information fatigue syndrome, you know, higher blood pressure, compression of leisure time, more sleeplessness, you know, greater levels of stress. And that's not going to make you, you know, the rock star that you really need to be.
That's right.
You know, in the business world.
So are you a father?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're going to be a dad, right? You're going to teach your kids right at the get-go all these memory techniques, right?
I mean, I think it's one of the best advantages you can have, whether you're a student or a senior, or you know, you're a big entrepreneur, successful, you know, doing the things that you're going to do. I mean, our greatest wealth lies between our ears by far. The challenge is that this brain doesn't come with an owner's manual, so it's not always user friendly. And I think, you know, they say people use 10% of it, or 2%, or 1/10,000th, 1%. It keeps on getting less and less. And I think we use all of it, but it's just how we're using it. You know, there's a difference between working hard and working smart. It's kind of like typing with 2 fingers as opposed to
All
10
fingers.
fingers. Yeah.
Let's go back to this sensory overload.
Yeah.
Okay, information overload.
Information overload.
So what do? You do partial information, different compartments or buckets?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to be really smart about the whole thing. You know, the fastest way to like read something, for example, is not to read it at all. You know, we've all had the experience of reading something and saying, why did I waste my time, you know, doing that? I'm a big advocate of reading efficiency, not only reading speed, but smart reading. You know, it doesn't make sense to, you know, have the reading speed without the reading comprehension, you know, as we do memory training. Using your finger, by the way, does help you read faster.
How's that?
Because it's one of those things, they call it a visual pacer, whether it's a highlighter, it's a pen, a pencil, it's a mouse on a computer. That visual aid will help pull you through the information as opposed to your attention being pulled apart. Because one of the biggest obstacles to effective reading is this thing called regression. We've all had the experience where we read something, find ourselves going back and rereading words, you know, and that back skipping gets spent, you know, we spend 20, 30% of our time just wasted just rereading stuff.
How do you do this online then? If you're on a computer, use a mouse?
Absolutely. We have a new app coming out next month. This is kind of a new kind of quick reader that'll also create that visual pacer online.
Quick reader with a K.
Yeah, that's very true.
Is that what's going to be called?
Yeah, it'll something like that. It'll be coming out over the next 30 days that we've been launching it. But anyway, you could use a mouse on the computer also as well. And also I encourage people to use actually their left hand while they read, which is really interesting because most people, the reason why is because, as we know from high school biology, that the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body, and the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. And the left side of your brain, you know, as you know from school, it's logical, it's analytical, it's words, it's language, it's sounds. But the right, which is mostly reading, the right side of your brain is the experiential brain. That's where you imagine things, you visualize it, you feel it. And for most people, they're just getting the sounds on the side. But you really want to give people experience, you want to challenge and inspire the right side of your brain. And so what new research is finding is that by using your body, it's not just a brain-body connection, it's also a body-brain connection. And using your body in certain ways, it could actually stimulate different parts of thinking functions.
And this is inside the videos that are out.
Yeah. You actually, when you go to freememoryseminar.com, you can also get these free speed reading videos where I'll show them exactly how to do it, how to move their finger, how to hold a book, and blast through at least a book a week. 52 books a year will give you the. Can you imagine going on Amazon or going to the bookstore and picking out 50 books that you know you're going to go? One of my very first students, she struggled with the speed reading, but after a couple of weeks, it clicked. That light switch went off like it did for me, and she ended up reading 30 books in 30 days.
That's
just
amazing.
astonishing. And she ended up saving her mother's life of the big challenge that she was having.
Jim, why isn't this taught in school?
I think one of the things, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I just think that the challenge is people are used to doing the same thing over and over again, and it's fine. They say though, with if Rip Van Winkle woke up today, the only thing he would recognize is the education system. And it's the challenge is it's one size fits all cookie cutter approach for the majority of it, and it prepared us for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Like we live in this age, as you know, Ken, of jet planes and spacecraft, but the vehicle of choice when it comes to learning is this horse and buggy. And people are just kind of like going back to can you imagine going back to dial-up and just like what that would feel like? That's the difference between learning and really quick learning.
It's a really good visual. I love that. I love all these new acronyms that we have learned today. Everything that Jim's talking about sounds like he has served us all by putting this stuff online at no cost.
At no cost at all. Enjoy it, because these are the best videos you'll find on remembering people's names and the ability to read faster with better comprehension. I think those are two of the master skills that will really serve you to really dominate and lead in the 21st century.
Where do they go again?
Again, freememoryseminar.com.
freememoryseminar.com. And you understand about Be Savvy, right? And you also Mom. These are all, I'm going to start using this today.
Use a visual pacer. Using a visual pacer while you read, and it would actually improve your reading speed 50%, sometimes 100%.
A visual pacer would be like piece of cardboard.
Like your finger while you read, or a highlighter or a pencil.
Yeah. Jim, Kwik, people want to find out more about everything that's going on. Where do they go?
freememoryseminar.com to get your free videos that you can enjoy and watch, or go to our website where we blog every single day on how to be more mentally productive at kwiklearning.com, Kwik learning.com.
Jim Kwik, I appreciate you coming out, making the pilgrimage out here.
Ken, I'm a big fan, so thank you for the great work that you do. I appreciate all your listeners, and I wish your days be full of lots of life, lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning.
There you go, Jim Kwik, Ken Rutkowski, Business Rockstars, KFWB News Talk 980.